औज़ुबिल्लाहि मिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम सुब्हानका ला इल्मा लना इल्ला मा 'अल्लमतना innaka antal alimul hakim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today we're going to do the 12th lecture of writing system. In this lecture we'll discuss another problem of inter-process communication. So among the classical problems of IPC, there were three problems that we had pointed out earlier in the previous lecture, that were bounded buffer problem, reader-writer problem, and dining philosopher problem. The bounded buffer problem or producer-consumer problem was discussed in previous lecture, while in today's lecture we'll discuss the reader-writer problem. And inshallah in the next lecture we'll discuss about the dining philosopher problem. All of them are the classical problems of inter-process communication. Today we'll discuss the reader-writer problem. So there are multiple processes which share a common file. These processes can perform one of the two operations in a broad sense, that's read and write. Update, edit, delete, etc. These are included in the write operation. So if all processes are just reading the file, then there is no any issue with that. For example, we have multiple processes, multiple computers, and they are accessing a common file from a server, and for the purpose of just reading that or just printing that. So there is no issue when all the processes read a file from a common device or from a shared file. But if one of the processes write or update the content of the file, then inconsistency may result, right? Then inconsistency may result. And particularly when two processes update the file, and while reading it with they get the same state of the file, but when they write, then the writing in the last will retain, while that which was made before will be lost, right? So actually when all the processes made just a read request for a shared process, then there is no issue because all of them are just reading. But if one of them is doing some write operation, then inconsistencies may result, and particularly when the order of their execution and the final statement, when they write the content on the when they update the content and again they write in the shared file, then the one which is written before the next will be lost, and we will come up with a inconsistent result, right? So for a shared piece of data, what we need, once a writer is ready, it should perform its writing, right? Another thing is that only one writer may write at a time. There must not be more than two writers editing or writing a file simultaneously. If a process is writing, no other process can read it. And we'll also have to ensure that if a process is doing some write operation, then no other process will be able to read that particular content. If at least one reader is reading, no other processes can write. And if one process is busy while in reading, then at the same time no other process can request for write operation, but they could for writing, for reading. uh, Similarly, if a process requests for read operation, then it must perform only read. It cannot perform the write operation once it requested to read the content. Suppose we have four processes and computing for a shared variable count. So we have four processes. Here we can see that P1, P2, P3, P4. We have four processes and they are competing for a shared resource, shared variable, that is count. So here you can see that count is equal to 0. And for example, all of them are making some read request. They want to read the account so they can get it easily, and there is no restriction on them not to read the content. If all of them simultaneously reading a common variable, they can and they should. uh, but now consider that we have four processes, P1, P2 and P3 and P4, and at this moment P4 requests some write operation, and the request has been granted, and now that P4 is performing some write operation on the account variable. At this moment P1 is and P2 and P3, they are they all issuing some read or write operation. So once P1 is requesting for either read or write operation, then this request will not be granted. Similarly, P2 is requesting, it will not be granted, and P3 is requesting, it will not be granted. So you can see that if one process is reading is writing a shared variable, so other processes cannot enter for in that particular section of code for any type of processing, whether it is read or write operation. So write is totally exclusive, and only one process must be performing the write operation. And now consider that we have the same scenario, but this time P4 requests some read operation on the account. Now P4 is P4's request is just to read the account variable, and at the same time, for example, P1 requests for read operation, then this request will be granted, this read operation will be allowed. And similarly, P2 request for write operation, so this operation will not be granted, because as I said earlier, that once a process reading some are busy in reading some common piece of data, then no other process will be able to enter for that section for write operation. And similarly, if P3 wanna read the content, then it can, but no process can enter for write operation. Now consider the anomaly that we could have, the inconsistency that we could have if we allow more than two processes to enter simultaneously for write operation. And for that time, for example, P4 and P3 are two processes, and they wanna read operation on the account variable. So for example, if we allow them, so if they are allowed, then they will get the value of account is equal to 100 and account is equal to 100. You can see here it's account equal to 100 and account equal to 100. And what actually the read of the write operation they want to perform, the first process is basically want to add 100 in the account, while the second process actually wants subtract 5 from the account. And for example, P3 executes, so it renders the account is equal to 50 because it subtracted 50 from the account. And for example, P4 runs, so it renders the account to be 200 because now it added 100 more to the account. And as it proceeds, and P4 writes the new variable in the shared space, so P4 writes 200 in the account variable. And after that, because one thing that you should know, that write operation on the common variable cannot be performed simultaneously, and it always the data which is written before is always lost. And now for example, P3 wanna write, then the previous data, that is 200, will automatically lost and will come up with account is equal to 50. So now our account is 50. That is incorrect. Why? Because previously we had 100 rupees or $100 in our account, but once the combined operation, if we consider the both operations, that of our P4 and P3 as a single operation, then at the basically adds 100 to the account and then subtract 50 to the account. So if 100 is added, it will be become 200, and again if 50 is subtracted, it will become 150. So that is the correct result. What we expect from the system is 150, but what actually happened is that the account becomes 50, which is incorrect result. And some people say that there must be a true result if the order of execution were not that one previously. So for example, we just revert this decision, and now that this time 50 is written before, and after that P4 writes account 200, so the new value of account becomes 200. That is also incorrect. You can see that the actual result that you are expecting from the system and the system should have done was 150, but the result is 200. So this inconsistency occur because we allow two processes to edit or to write a common piece of data in parallel or at the same time or simultaneously. So this is how basically the inconsistency occur when we allow more than two processes, more than one process to write a common data simultaneously. Now let us solve this problem using semaphore. Now with the help of semaphore, we will try to solve this problem. As we understand the process that the inconsistency result if we do not acted upon the suggestion that we had made earlier, that if there is a read operation ongoing on a data, then no write operation will be made. If a process requests for read operation, it can only perform read and cannot change its decision after that to write. And if one process is writing, then no other processes will be able to either read or write the content. And if a process wanna write something, then it must find the data to be totally independent and totally idle. No other process will try to access that particular data. So now let's attempt to solve this issue. And for that issue, a write operation is simple. We have two operations, two functions, the write function and the read function. But it should be noted that write doesn't mean here that only write. It basically means to add, to edit, to delete, to update, etc. So all these things are combined in the word write. So write operation is straightforward, and because it was according to the mutual exclusion, if a writer process wants entry, it must enter through a write wrt. Wrt is a signal for write, sorry, it is a semaphore for write. So to wrt semaphore, and when leaves, it is signaled. It means that our write function is a mutual exclusion case, and in order to enter that section, we must execute a wait on its semaphore. And if we leave that section, we will have to signal that semaphore, and the semaphore is wrt. So wrt semaphore is maintained for write operation, and once the writing is performed, then that semaphore will be waited, and once we perform writing, then we will have to signal the wrt semaphore. Now consider the pseudocode for the read or request for the read request from a process is that do first, when a process want to write something, then it will have to call wait on the wrt semaphore. Wrt is the semaphore. So on this semaphore, the process will, or the thread will execute wait operation, and once it comes out of the wait operation successfully, then it will enter its critical section, that is write operation, and it perform the writing that it wants. It should be noted that the semaphore wrt that we using here is a binary semaphore. So its values, if its value is 0, it means that no process is allowed to enter the critical section, and if its value is 1, then it means that the process is allowed to be to enter in its critical section. And once the process terminates its critical section, then it will have to leave, and once it leaves, it must call signal on wrt semaphore so that its value will be incremented, and another process will be allowed to enter in the critical section. So this is how the write operation is implemented. But what about read operation? For read operation, we should ensure the following three conditions, right? And the if it is the first reader, for example, a reader wanna read a content and it is the first reader to read that particular shared data, then prohibit other processes from read operation. Sorry, this must be write operation. Okay, so if it is the first reader, then before reading the content, it first ensure that no other process should write should come here for writing. So it basically logs the content that if another process want to enter for in this particular section of code, and for the purpose of writing, then that process will be blocked. That no process is in write operation. Okay, that no process is in write operation. And then increment and decrement the number of readers who so it must ensures that their processes are not incrementing or decrementing. Okay, do you understand that? It means that whenever a process is entering in the read section, then there must be a counter. That counter will show that how many readers are there in the read section. So it once it enters the critical it's want to read the operation, it will increment the counter that the number of readers have been incremented by one. For what purpose? For that purpose, so that the number of readers can be determined, and if a process write is coming, then it noted that because number of readers are there in the section, so it will not perform the write operation. So the code for read operation will be like this. Here will be the code. Do need to increment the readers. First, it will increment the reader. If it is the first reader, need to restrict writer. If it is the first reader, it need to restrict all writers to come into this section, and then it will have to decrement the readers because now it has done its reading, so it will have to decrement its reader. And if it is the last reader, then it will allow the writers. So this is actually the flow of pseudocode. I'm refining this code. So let's once again review this, that need to increment the readers because new reader is coming, so it will have to increment the number of readers. And if it is the first reader, need to restrict writers. And if it's the first reader, then it must basically wait the semaphore WRT, so that other processes could not enter in this section for write operation. As we already said that if a process is in read operation, then no other process will be allowed to enter for write operation. And because now it performs its read operation, and after read operation it must decrement the number of readers because now one reader has exited the reading. And finally, if it is the last reader, allow the writers. Allow the writer means that signal the WRT semaphore, right? So let's refine it, and let's convert it into more syntextual form. So you can see that first there will be wait on mutex, and reader should be incremented. Number of reader, read count means how many readers are. And finally and after that, signal will be mutex will be signaled. But why? Actually, this piece of code is also a critical section. If this piece of code is running in parallel, if this particular section of code is running in parallel by two or more processes, then it could render a false value. So this particular statement is also a critical section, so we must do it with mutual exclusion. So we use a mutex semaphore so that if a process is busy in incrementing the read count, so that no other process can enter in this section and increment this. So this step was to increment the number of readers. Next we will have, what we'll do, if read count is equal to 0, it means that it was the first reader who enters the critical for the read operation, then it must stop the write semaphore, or must restrict other writers to enter for writing. So it also restrict the other processes from writing, so it wait on WRT, so writing operation is prohibited here. And once that done, it wait it calls it performed its read operation. For example, it performed its read operation, then it will have to decrement the number of read counter, how many readers are there. For that purpose, it once again wait on imposes wait on mutex, so that another process couldn't enter and it cannot decrement the counter. So once again it locks this particular piece of code, and after decrementing the counter, it signals the mutex, so that if any other process want to enter for read minus minus or read plus plus, because read minus minus and read plus plus are almost editing the same variable, so both of them are sandwiched between wait and signal. And finally, if the process is the last process, If the process is the last process, if read count is equal to 0, then it signal the WRT. It means that it allow the other writers to enter now, because it was the last reader. No readers are there in the reading section. So it allow the writers that now you can come on and you can make the necessary writing that you want. But one thing that I want to tell you is that in the first statement I said that read count variable is a critical section, and similarly I also repeated the same statement over here, that read count is a critical section. It can lead to inconsistency, but here you can see that I am using read count as an expression, and if I am using the read count as an expression, it means that it should be inside the mutex. So I am just converting, just moving this piece of code, because in which the read count has been used inside the mutex, so that this operation is also performed with a mutual exclusion. So the next but read count depends on read count plus plus and read count minus minus, so it brings it inside the mutex. And here is the final code. This is the final code. What it says that wait on mutex and signal on mutex. It means that this code which has been sandwiched by wait and signal is basically the critical section. You can see here all things are basically critical section. Read count is incremented, so it is a sandwich between wait and signal, because so that other process could not enter at this section. Similarly, if it compare the read count to 1, so at this moment it also in mutex, because no other process at the meanwhile couldn't edit this variable, couldn't increment or decrement read count. And finally it issues wait on WRT. It is possible that you can put the wait writer over here, but it will change the syntax of if statement. If statement will no longer exist in its true spirit, because this is the body of if statement, so you must bring it in the mutex, right? So bringing over here this statement is not due to the fact that we need to sandwich this between the wait and signal, but it is because of this statement that this was necessary to be sandwiched, and this is the body of the if statement, so that it will be with that. And once that done, read operation will be performed. And after the read operation is performed, what we will have to do, we will have to decrement the mutex, the read count, and for that I will have to sandwich all operations that will be performed on the read count and the wait and signal. First I decrement the read count, then if I say that if read count is equal to 0, it means that if it is the last process performing some read operation, then it signal the write, so that write processes can come in. And finally it signals mutex, so that if any other process want to enter the read operation, it can now, because now it has done with its things. So now let us explain with example that how basically it works. So just like the previous, here is the code that is for read operation, and here is the code for write operation. So we have read and write operation, two pseudo codes, and at the same time we have four processes, P1, P2, P3 and P4, and these processes want to do some operations, right? And for that we need to initialize mutex. So we have mutex is equal to 1. It was the semaphore for mutual exclusion. Another we have WRT semaphore, that was for writing operation, and similarly read count was a variable that will count the number of processes inside the read operation. So for example, at this moment all processes want to run simultaneously. P1, P2, P3 and P4, all of them immediately want to enter the read operation. They want to do read operation. So as they all calling wait on mutex, so only one process will be entered to wait, because wait is an atomic operation of semaphore. And for example, P1 enters. So once P1 enters the semaphore, the wait section, then it will render the value of mutex 0, and now it will exit the wait section, the wait function, and come to read count plus plus. But at this moment, when other processes try to enter to the wait session, then they couldn't enter because mutex is 0. So if mutex is 0, then all other processes will wait. So P2, P3 and P4 are waiting because P1 has rendered the mutex 0. Now P1 is executing read count plus plus, and it increments the read count, and the new read count becomes 1. You can see here the read counts become 1, and then it checks that whether it is the first process to enter the read count. So if read count is equal to 1, yes, condition is true, it means that it's the first process to enter the read operation. Then what it will do, it will signal WRT, it wait on WRT, and once WRT is waited, then its value will be decremented and new WRT will become 0, right? And then it will enter it will leave this section and will have to signal the mutex so that other processes can enter to increment the read count. So P1 will be signaled, and mutex will be signaled, and next value of mutex will become 1. And similarly, at this moment P3 finds that mutex has been released and moves ahead and calls the wait function, and in the wait function mutex value is once again decremented, and P3 enters to increment the read. So read count has been incremented, and now read counts value is 2. Similarly, at this moment P3 basically completes its read operation, and now it wanna leave, but it will have to wait for mutex because mutex has been zeroed, or mutex has been locked by P3. You can see that P1 will wait here, and it is in the wait to in the release of mutex. So it is in a spin lock, and it is looking to mutex. Then whenever it becomes 1, then it will have to proceed. At this moment P3 moves ahead, and because P3 checks the condition and it finds that read count is not equal to 1, so it proceeds and it calls signal on mutex. So signal on mutex mean to increment the value of mutex, so mutex will become 1, and once mutex will become 1, the P3 will be in the critical section. At this moment P2, P4 and P1, 3 processes were looking for mutex that when it will become 1. And for example, at this moment P2 finds that mutex is 0, so as 1, so it render it 0, and at this moment, for example, P3 also ends its read operation, and now it is waiting in this statement in order to mutex, but mutex has been locked by P2, and now P2 will proceed and will increment the count. So count is equal to 2, and when this command is executed, then count will become 3, and now it will proceed and will signal mutex, and once it signals mutex, then mutex value will become 1, and it will enter in the read operation. At this moment P1, P3 and P4 who are waiting for the mutex to be 1, and as it is 1, so P3 noticed it, and once P3 noticed that mutex is 1, it rendered the mutex 0 and proceed its execution. And what it does, basically it read count is decremented, so read counts become 2, and it's proceed, and if it checks the condition read count is equal to 0, no, then it will proceed, and P3 will signal the mutex, and mutex will become 1. And now for mutex, process P4 and P1 were waiting. At this moment P3 ends, goes back, and P4 notices, you can see here that P1 was also waiting for mutex, but P4 noticed that mutex value is 1, and immediately it rendered the value 0, and now P4 enters the critical section, read count is incremented, and similarly it checks the condition, but P2 now finished its execution and is also in the wait of mutex, but mutex has been blocked by P4. Now P4 is just to release the mutex, so mutex has been released by P4, and P4 is in read operation. At this moment P1 and P2 are waiting for mutex to be 1, and now P1 noticed that mutex is 1, and immediately it's turned to 0, and it proceeds and decrement the read count, so read count becomes 2, and then it checks the condition doesn't satisfy, so it goes for signal mutex, and signal is incremented. At this moment P4 also moves ahead, and it finishes its read operation and waiting for mutex, and immediately P4 and P2 are the 2 processes waiting for mutex. And this moment P1 finished its execution, and P4 finds that mutex is 1, so it rendered the mutex 0, and at this moment P3 requests some write operation. right? So P3 requests for some write operation, but it will have to wait on WRT, and once it calls wait function, it check that WRT is 0. It means that P3 should wait there because it cannot enter the write operation, so because WRT is 0. So P4 enters and read count is decremented, so read count becomes 1. It checks the condition if read count is equal to 0, no. If it's false, then it moves ahead, signal at mutex, and mutex become 1. If and at this moment P4 finishes its execution and exit. After that, for example, P2 finds that mutex is 1, so it decremented the value of mutex and goes ahead. It decremented the read counter, and then it checks the condition that if but at this moment P4 also wanna read some write some do some write operation. It moves ahead, but it finds that WRT is still 0, so both of the processes P3 and P4 are waiting for WRT to be 1, while P2 is checking the condition if read count is equal to 0, the condition is true. Now read count is 0, so what it will issue signal on WRT. WRT will become 1, and as soon as WRT become 1, it means that P3 and P4 who are waiting for WRT to be 1, and then notice that P3 notice that WRT as 1, and similarly it render at 0 and enters the critical section, and finally P2 signal the mutex. So mutex once again becomes 1, and similarly P2 finish its job. So this is how basically the synchronization problem has been resolved. Now you can see P3 is in write section, and P4 is waiting for write because no two process can enter for write operation. It is being controlled by the WRT, and all reads operation and write operation and their alternatives possibilities all have been addressed by this code. So P3 will enter in the right section.